And we're live! Hello all and welcome. And I'm the Realist Philosopher, and this is the Realist Philosopher Show. So how y'all doing today? Hope you're all doing good, fine, and, well, you know. Alright, so what's been going on, everybody? Finally have my internet back, so for those of you listening on SoundCloud, I'm going to try when I get a chance to get this stuff uploaded, all my back episodes, and also backup episodes. Going back to last week, also, I'm also going to upload most recent episodes to Patreon. So appreciate your support, everybody. For those of you who support me on Patreon and Subscribestar, hope more of you will think about doing so by visiting therealistphilosopher.com/donate. That's therealistphilosopher.com/donate. I'm a realist philosopher, meaning I am from the school of philosophy of realism, practical realism specifically, my own school of philosophy. And I'm also pretty well acquainted with most of the traditional schools out there, and even some of the less traditional, such as occult philosophy and such, mainly bunk, essentially. So if you'd like to discuss such subjects, if you have a subject you want to discuss, comment on, want me to comment on, or if you'd like to even be on the show in the future, you can email me at admin@therealistphilosopher.com. That's ADMIN @therealistphilosopher.com. You can also follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, and Instagram. You'll find all those links in the description along with my donation platforms, at least some of them. Subscribestar and TipeeeStream you can use to donate via my page on my website, therealistphilosopher.com/donate. Your support would be greatly appreciated. Don't be a mooch. If you use the content a lot, if you watch the content a lot and you like it, consider supporting me, okay? I'm a capitalist, don't work for free, or I can't work for free, can't afford to work for free. Believe it or not, producing content costs money. Even the live streaming software I use costs money, let alone SoundCloud and the equipment I use. So yeah, nothing's free in this world. Only people that believe that are dopey socialists, who I hate with a passion. All right, so let's get into the show, shall we? Wow, it's been a busy, busy day. Yesterday, no news. Well, I didn't really have time to look up any news, but it didn't look like there was any news. But then I go to look today. Might just be that I had more time. Okay. But regardless, there's a tidal wave, a tsunami of crazy shit. So much shit that I've got enough for the next 2 shows. I didn't have enough to fit into this friggin' show. Well, I mean, I could if I wanted to do like a 3, 4, 5 hour show, but there's just so much. So let's begin with the most recent. I'll tell you what. This Ocasio-Cortez broad, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, yes, she has a great grand name. Yeah, got to say all 3 of them, right? Can't call her Alexandria Cortez. I'm going to tell her to fuck off, and I'm going to fucking remove her middle name, and I'm just going to call her AC. Air conditioning. Except she blows hot air, not cold. So, Alexandria Cortez says that the guarantee of a home comes before the privilege to earn a profit. It's a privilege now? Really? To earn a profit? I don't think she knows what profit is. So, okay. For those of you who don't know who and what Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is, she claims to be a democratic socialist, but all that means, once you get past the sophistry and the feel-good rhetoric, which is what sophistry is, essentially playing on your emotions to win an argument, make an argument instead of facts, logic, reason. It's basically, at its heart, just communism. She's just a big communist. I mean, she even uses all the terminology. Bourgeoisie, proletariat. My apartment is so bougie. Yeah, you're so trendy. You're so trendy. All these trendy people are communists. And she's a communist, and she thinks profit is evil, right? What do companies do with profit? Oh, those bigwigs up there smoking their imported cigars from, what is it? What's the, Cuba? Yeah, the Cubans. They supposedly make good cigars. It seems to be the only good thing they make. Those bigwigs smoking their Cuban cigars, laughing at the lowly workers. They steal their money by making profit and paying themselves outrageous salaries too, which, by the way, isn't profit. But, she thinks of that as profit, right? Yeah. They're paying themselves from the profit. Well, everybody, if you look at things that way, then yeah. But what comes in isn't profit. See, she doesn't understand. We're making money, but that's not profit. Of course, that's the way she thinks of it, right? But there'd be more profit if they didn't take such a high salary, right? And then there'd be more to pay the workers. And there shouldn't be any profit at all. That money should be going to the workers. Yeah, okay, number one, the workers, I mean, all right, there's no number one. This is the only one. There's no multiples. This is it, okay? You dummy. Profit is what the employee pays the company in return to use their infrastructure and their goods and services and their materials and whatever else they're using that is owned by the company to make a living, okay? I should just be able to stroll in there, use their computers, use their advertising, use their infrastructure, use their materials and build shit that they sell, and then I should get every goddamn penny. There should be no profit because profit's evil. Well, what happens when their competitors grow bigger? And what happens when their company gets a lot of customers and then they need to grow or they won't be able to compete with competition and then they'll go out of business? That won't happen because we'll make everything socialist and we'll make it all run by the government and everything will stay static and there'll be no growth anywhere. There'll be no change, no adaptation. No technological innovation, which is, of course, why if you looked at the Soviet Union, before they cast off the shackles of socialism, communism, which is the goal of socialism, right? What did they have? They innovated nothing. Everything they had, they either stole through espionage from other countries, tried, in many cases unsuccessfully, to duplicate. There was no innovation at all. No innovation at all. Look at Cuba. They're still driving around cars from the 1940s. Fucking A. She don't know what profit is. Yeah. She says everybody should have the guarantee of a home. Huh? How is that going to work? I'm going to come to... So why would I even open a business if... Okay, so wait. I'm confused. I'm confused. All right, so I open a business with what? Money I made how? Working? I saved my money? I saved my money, huh? That's profit by AOC's estimation. Well, you have extra money. You don't need that money. If you needed that money, you wouldn't be able to save it. So you should give that money away. You should give that money away to the poor and the pathetic and the needy and the people who are just unmotivated to work. That's her way of looking at things. If you have excess... Well, that's wrong. Excess is wrong. Profit is excess. Yeah, because you couldn't have a use for the excess, right? You couldn't do something productive with the excess, right? You don't have the excess because you need the excess. Oh, no. Excess is stuff you don't need. Yeah, excess is stuff I don't need in the moment, like right now. But what about the future? I'm a socialist. I can't see the future. I can't predict anything. I don't look into the future. I don't use logic, critical reasoning, critical thinking, deductive reasoning. No logic chains. I don't look ahead. I am in the now, and in the now, there's poor, hungry people. Profit is evil. Yeah, okay, lovely logic. The New York lawmaker made the controversial remarks during a town hall event in the Bronx. She minimized the significance of her luxury living arrangements, the ones with the garbage disposal that she doesn't know how to use and was afraid of. During the event, comparing it to a public housing unit. Doesn't she live in a luxury high-rise? Oh, boy. Paid to be an ignorant moron. Puppet, I see. Public out, really? Well, I move into this building and it's marketed as a luxury building in D.C., Ocasio-Cortez said. It's an efficient building. It's clean. It has public space. It has a rooftop garden. You're watching my Instagram. It has clean air. It has clean water. And I think about this and I'm like, this is what a luxury building is like? Yeah. Yeah. You're a moron! She spoke ill of tenant-owned for-profit buildings during the speech, stumping for the universal right to a dignified home. Well, if there's no profit margin, why would I open a business? Okay, so let's say I save $100,000 and I want to open up a small business. I open the business and then what? What if business goes down? What if I have a bad year? What if I want to expand? Sorry, no profit for that. You had to give all your money to the workers, and you had to give them a co-op type of part ownership of the company too. You had to give them shares in your business that you saved the money to all fucking start. But now I have to give them a part ownership because, we turned everything into a fucking communist socialist utopia, and everybody's got to own a piece of everything, even though they didn't fucking put the skin, as it were, into the fucking game. They got no skin in the fucking game, but they should own part of it. Yeah, I see. They bear no risk, but they get all the rewards. That's mighty convenient. So somebody goes through all the trouble to work hard, slave away, and save money, which by Ocasio-Cortez's estimation is evil as well, because it's essentially the same as profit. It's anxious! And they work and slave and save and then invest their money in a business, and they shouldn't be able to reap the rewards of their labor? Really? Okay, Ocasio. Well, then why would anybody open a business? Well, why would anybody do so? They don't in Venezuela. They all got the fuck out. Everybody that had enough money to get out got out. What's left is nothing. Oh, boy. Yeah, she's an idiot. Another world is possible, Ocasio-Cortez said. Yeah, it is possible. It's called hell. We can live in buildings that are not for profit. Then what will they be? How will they get built? Who will build them? Monks? Charitable, philanthropic people who have no money because they make no profit. In her mind, of course, everybody should work for free anyway, right? You'll give them everything they need and then they'll still work. But if they don't, we'll just give them what they need. Well, you do that enough, nobody's producing anything. Then where are you going to get the money, which is really just representative of the fucking resources that exist out there to feed and clothe them and give them all that free shit? Well, you're going to get it nowhere because it won't exist. So a loaf of bread will cost $10 million. Because, scarcity decides the value of shit. One of the things, anyway, that decides the value. Oh, but she doesn't understand economics. Oh, wait! She has a degree in economics! Oh, my God. This ought to tell you how useless university is. If you got kids, don't send them to university, okay? Do not. Unless it's absolutely necessary in regards to what they're going to pursue as a job. And even then, you might want to tell them to change careers because sending them into that fucking school is going to turn them into a lefty nut job like this broad. Yeah, another world is possible. So what? They're tenant-owned. Yeah, you don't want to know what tenant-owned is called? You fucking earn the money and you buy it. No, we'll just give it to them. And then they'll own it by giving it to them. Yeah. That's a brilliant idea. Who's going to build it? Who's going to build this when there's no profit to be made, right? There are so many ways we can slice this and we can structure it in a way where all people have the right to a dignified home. How? Tell me how. Get into the specifics. Don't talk about cow farts. Tell me the specifics of how you're going to magically conjure up the fucking rock, the fucking rock, whatever you're going to build these fucking buildings are. Okay, the concrete. Where are you going to get the concrete? Where are you going to get the wood? Where are you going to get the metal, the copper? Where are you going to get all these materials? How are you going to get them out of the earth if profit is forbidden? People will start co-ops. Yeah, those are real productive, right? Yeah, that's why there's so many of those existing. Didn't they try that in Russia? They co-opted everything. We're going to become a big, giant, country-sized co-op. Yeah, 75 million people starved to death. Maybe more. Half the people in Ukraine starved to death. But Stalin, of course, he wanted to depopulate everything. It's easier to control a country and there's less people. That's amazing how my fucking Bernie Sanders sounds like Stalin. Oh, yeah, she's proclaimed that an individual's privilege to earn a profit should not come before another's guarantee of a home. So it's the ability to earn profit is a privilege, but a home is a right. Uh-huh. I don't think a woman's vag is big enough to pop out a home. I mean, unless it's the home for a termite. What does this mean, right to a home? That's what she's inferring. You have a right to a home. Gee, I thought you had a right to whatever you could slave away and work for and earn. Essentially, no rights. Whatever rights you think you have as some kind of a God-given entitlement, no, they were earned by others and passed on to you, and then you continue to fight for them and earn them. The rights are a privilege, you idiots, okay? Well, they're not a privilege, but they're earned, okay? They're earned, all right? That they're earned and they're fought for throughout your entire life. And there's constantly going to be people trying to take them away, and you constantly have to fight for those rights using the mechanisms at your disposal to do so. For example, in the West, you've always got people trying to take away your freedom of speech, your freedom of religion, your right to bear arms. They're always trying to take these things away, and you're using the mechanisms available to you, that being the vote, right? Your voice, to keep them. That right there ought to tell you don't have a right to these things. If you did, if they were a fundamental, intrinsic part of the universe and had been woven into the fabric of it, you wouldn't have to fight for them. You'd just have them. You'd be born with them. There wouldn't be hunger. You'd be born with unlimited food. That'd be a big fucking poon you'd be coming out of, by the way, if we could accommodate all that. But, yeah, you don't have rights. You don't have rights, okay? You do not. Oh, she's so dumb. So dumb. Clearly didn't take any real philosophy courses in university. I automatically have positive rights. And I don't have to do anything to earn them. In her ideal world, that's true, actually, yeah. Get a free house, guaranteed home. We have to make sure that housing is being legislated as a human right. See, I called it. Ocasio-Cortez said, these people are so predictable. You see, this is how you know not to listen to them. I mean, I know what she's going to say before she says it. Her ideology, she's an ideologue. She's an ideologue. Her thought processes aren't really thoughts. It's just a blueprint that she refers to instead of thinking, that somebody else created. Marx and other idiots like him. Yeah, because profit's so evil. How do you grow a business? And let's not even get started on the minimum wage, which, by the way, is a retarded red herring because it's not the employer that decides your salary. It's the fucking customer. At the point of service, they pay exactly what they're willing to pay. The market, which is just made up of individuals who are individually making a decision as to whether or not they value something enough to buy it, set the price of the item. And they also are the ones deciding how much the fucking customer, them, is paying the employee producing the good or the service. It's not the employer, okay? It's not the employer. Oh, they're so dumb. She's so dumb. What an idiot. What a fucking moron. All right, yeah. What does that mean? She says. What it means is that our access and our ability and our guarantee to having a home comes from someone else's privilege to earn a profit. Oh, she's stupid. She's stupid. Let me explain something to you. All this fucking stupid socialist bullshit, all this talk about, having a right to this, I'm entitled to that, free food, free health care, I shouldn't have to work, I should be able to live this laissez-faire lifestyle of art and farting and watching TV and doing nothing. How do you think that's made possible? Even Marx, he knew there's no way 100% of people could sit on their asses. If anybody actually studies Marx, they'll see that this guy advocates for 50% of the population working to provide for the other 50% who are not. He's essentially talking about having a slave class and a privileged class. Working class and the bourgeois class, right? That's how he wants it to be, right? Yeah. All you had to do was look at Marx and his life. He was really a moralist. And all you had to do, he lived the reality of his morality, and his life was horrible, by the way. His life was fucking horrible. And I think that a lot of what Marx tried to impart as the correct way to live was just his way of trying to justify his own laziness and sloth and his slovenly existence. I think that many of his attempts to convince others and convert people and to teach this as the best way to live, and that the only reason it didn't work was because of the evil of others. And so I think it was to abdicate responsibility. I think it was just to excuse himself from having to be responsible for the consequences of his own actions, not only to himself, but his family, who lived a horrible existence. I think most of his kids committed suicide, died early deaths. I mean, this fucking guy, wherever he went, he left a trail of destruction. My God, you want to look at how his moral philosophy of how to live your life worked? Take a look at his life. A disaster. And I think his teachings and his attempts to essentially justify and preach his economic and social moral approach to life were just his own way of trying to justify his wrongdoings and his own horrible life and existence. Not my fault. That's why when you look at socialism, it's always abdicating responsibility. It's always blaming it on somebody else. So oppressor, oppressed. Marx thought of himself as an oppressed person. He did. He thought he was oppressed. Yeah, he had his buddy Engels giving him money left and right. Had his fucking wife's family giving him money. He had his own family giving him money. He had one pair of fucking pants. He was constantly going back and forth to the pawn shop. Literally one pair of pants shared among everybody in the family. Yeah, this is what we want, right? Yeah, we want to live in that, yeah. Yeah, okay, so where was I? I really need to start highlighting this shit so I don't lose my place. Dan, by the way, where does she think that the money is going to come from to grow businesses? Where does she think the money comes from to grow businesses? How does she think Amazon got so fucking big and has so many employees? They used profit, you moron! If you didn't have profit in a business, you would only ever have the original stake that you put into it. I invested $100,000. If I wasn't allowed to have profit, my business would never grow unless I took whatever salary I was making to do that. So essentially, I'd just be like a worker, like everybody else, which is really all this is about. They want everybody to be a worker. They don't want anybody to be above anybody else. Essentially, all socialists are a bunch of insecure, lazy losers who hate being looked down upon in their mind by people who are doing better than they are, and they resent and envy those people. So they want to bring those people down to their level. Dan Bogino translated her remarks, tweeting, in other words, AOC believes you should go to work to pay everyone else's mortgage. I'd laugh at this if she weren't serious. What it means is that our access and our ability and our guarantee to having a home comes before someone else's privilege to earn a profit. Right. So essentially, you're reducing everybody's ability to make more money because you're limiting the amount of profit, which thereby limits the ability of a business to grow, which thereby limits the ability of that business to hire more people and to pay people more, to make the company more productive, to reward those employees who do a good job by increasing their salary, thereby limiting the amount of money that they can make. Oh, it's a brilliant idea! And thereby also limiting the amount of capital that exists for you to tax, to use to pay for this fucking pipe dream. Ocasio-Cortez's luxury apartment, which is situated in D.C.'s Navy Yard neighborhood, hosts an array of features including an indoor lap pool, golf simulator studio? Boy, she did really downplay it. Ooh, this is luxury. You bitch, you got an indoor fucking lap pool, golf simulator studio. I'm sure there's a gym there as well. Studio apartments in her building started around $2,000, 2,000 American dollars per month for a studio. I wonder how many square feet. While bigger apartments go as high as $5,000 a month. But it's not luxury. I have an indoor golf course, but it's not luxury. Yeah, because indoor golf courses are a necessity, right? Oh, my God. I wish people would learn about what profit really is, okay? It's not like some big goddamn grab bag piggy bank that the owner of the business, that the shareholders, that anybody who is working there in the upper echelons can just dip their fucking hands in and take out money. Whoa, need some money. Let's take some profit. It don't work that way. It's so stupid. So stupid. And by the way, big corporations, big companies don't make huge profits anyway. 1%, 2%, 3%. What is she thinking? That there's some big mountain of gold out there, and if there is, it's because the company has done well and they've saved their profits and they're investing those profits. You do understand also, AOC, there's competition out there. Of course, competition is evil. The fucking communist socialists like her think competition's bad. It drives profit. Yeah, right. It also drives growth, all right? And it improves innovation. It increases innovation, right? It improves productivity. It improves quality of products because you've got companies competing with each other trying to make a better fucking mousetrap. It improves everybody's life, not to mention driving down costs. Let's embrace a system that's very unproductive and it'll just skyrocket the cost of everything because it decreases what's available. It increases scarcity, though. So stupid. The only people that embrace this kind of philosophy are dummies and losers. Sorry, I misspoke. I meant to say ideology because it's not a philosophy at all. Get animated sometimes. Misspeak. All right, let's move on. Spend enough time on this airhead. Next. Mainstream media is normalizing pedophilia in a new reality show calling it Age Gap Love. It's interesting. It's very interesting. Now, personally, I would think that this age gap love would only apply when the age gap is between people who are both adults. Okay? I wouldn't think it would apply to somebody who's an adult and then somebody else who isn't an adult. But apparently, I'm just so unsophisticated. Yeah. Last year, TFTP, what the fuck is that? I'm supposed to know what that means? Reported how a disturbing push was made to attempt to normalize pedophilia as a mainstream sexual orientation. It's all these lefties and Hollywood types and celebrities. They're all a bunch of pervs. The move involved pedophiles rebranding themselves as minor attracted persons. That's what these lefties do to make the abnormal and, the degenerate behaviors of the world acceptable. Just rebrand them. With the hope that they will be accepted as part of the LGBT community. Same tactics that the LGBTers and all these other intersectional idiots have done to make homosexuality more acceptable and trannydom more acceptable. Yeah, let's hitch our wagon to these freaks that have now been accepted. Then maybe we'll become accepted the same way they did. It was somewhat effective, as multiple outlets reported it like it was okay. Anybody that did that was themselves a degenerate, okay? Probably a bunch of people at CNN. While this incident was extremely disturbing, even more worrisome is that this normalization appears to be spreading. Yeah, like mental illness spreads, like a fucking disease, yeah. Now mainstream media is accused of promoting pedophilia by referring to it as age gap love in a reality TV show. Yeah, because some things can be acceptable if you look at it in the right context and see all the nuance. There's nuance, There's shades of gray. No. In one of the most disturbing moments we've seen promoted on TV, the UK's Channel 5, the UK, I should have known, feminist fucking homeland. I should have known. Feminist capital, I should say. Good God. Yeah, UK is one of the top 5 feminist countries, which is owned by the media Leviathan Viacom, is promoting the relationship between a 16-year-old girl and a 44-year-old man. Instead of calling this what it is, the television network called it age gap love. Well, the legal age of consent in the UK is 16. Really? It's like 18 in America, isn't it? In most places? 16? I guess that's... I don't know. Whatever. I think 16 is okay, sort of, kind of. That's... Yeah. But, okay, so it's legal there. All right. The program admits that the affection Andy had toward his child wife... Wife? He's married to her! Oh, my God. 44-year-old dude married to a 16-year-old broad. That's kind of some creepy shit, okay? No, that's not kind of creepy. That's creepy. The program admits that the affection Andy had for his child wife began well before this age. He's a sicko. You're all a bunch of sickos. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's get back to normal, traditional humanity, all right? Where marriage is between a man and a woman, okay? Where dudes banging dudes and broads banging broads. Do what you want. Just, I don't want to know about it, okay? Go back, slink into the fucking shadows and do your thing behind closed doors and don't shove it in my face because the truth is you're like 1/10 of the population. 1/10%. 1/10 of 1% of the population, all right? That's, of course, why they're trying to indoctrinate more people because, there's not enough homos and lesbos running around. They want some fresh meat. Some fresh little meats, as the Chinese call them. We need some fresh meat! Fresh meat! Or twinks. The gay community, as they're called. Twinkies! Ew, they're so tasty! Yeah. Ugh. Not to my taste. So anyway, yeah, 44-year-old dude, 16-year-old broad. Might as well be Mormons. Become Mormons. Yeah, move out to Utah. Then you wouldn't be judged so harshly. Originally a friend of her mom, and over the years, he became close to the mom's children. So he was banging the mom, close to the mom, just so he'd get close to the kids. So he's a pedo. And he was essentially grooming the kids. How nice. The program says, as innocent music plays in the background, as if this sort of thing is entirely acceptable. Well, they want it to be acceptable, you know? The left are a bunch of people who have no self-control. They have a total, complete inability to control themselves, which is why so many of them are big, fat pigs, and they want you to accept it, right? And then you get this. You should let sex with little kids. Yeah, you should let adults have sex with little kids. It's perfectly fine because we have no self-control, right? We have no impulse control, so you should just allow it, right? It's perfectly okay. Yeah, right. Now we got fucking body positivity, accept fatness. They want you to accept everything that you should be veering away from via control of self and, of course, morality, right? But this is the problem also with relativism. You see, once you take away objective standards of morality and start viewing the world in this everything's gray, relativistic way, you remove that stigma. And when you remove that stigma, things that were prior unthinkable start to become thinkable. And they start to get pushed as mainstream. Good Lord. But once she reached the age of 16, he decided to give this controversial relationship a go. It continues. What this actually means is that Andy had been attracted to Beth well before her legal age of consent, and only after he could no longer go to jail for it, he became public with his sick desires. It's a pretty good breakdown. The woman is 19 in the video. If they met for the first time when she was 19, it would be weird, but not criminal or evil. I don't judge things like that. I mean, a full-grown adult, whatever you want to do, fine. I mean, well, okay, I guess I do, but I guess I do judge to some extent. We all do, but yeah, it is kind of weird. I don't know, but whatever. Well, the same way with gayness, all right? But at least this is a man and a woman, right? That's normal, okay? But he knew her since a child. She was a child, and they started dating when she was 16. That's called grooming and abuse. The dude is a pedophile. This is horrific. Okay. One Twitter user pointed out that the aforementioned details of how Andy met Beth are actually illegal under the Sexual Offenses Act, 2003, sections 27, 3, and 4. Others agreed as to how this man has likely been grooming Beth her whole childhood to have her accept this relationship as normal. After all, most pedophiles are friends of the family or family members or have trusted roles in the child's life. This is appalling, said one Twitter user. This is an unhealthy relationship between an adult and a child. It's grooming, not a cute hashtag. Adding to the sick nature of this show is the fact that the Viacom subsidiary has been running this show for 5 years. 5 years? And this was just to promote a follow-up on the already sick relationship. Oh, boy. There's a follow-up to this show coming in a week or two called Age Gap Love, 5 years on. I guess this clip was a promo to get people interested in that. This episode was originally aired in 2014, so the bad ideas have kept on coming for the past 5 fucking years, writes an angry Twitter user. Oh, boy. This isn't the last thing that the mainstream media and, academia as well. Some academics are pushing for this stuff, so-called intellectuals. And, this stuff's going to... Education systems trying to push this stuff too, right? Sexualizing young children, trying to teach them about sex and sexuality at the age of 5 and not informing the parents. You watch. This is going to get worse. It's going to continue to get pushed. The modern-day progressives are regressive. If you were to go back to like 1860, I think that the age for marriage was like 10. That's where they want to go. They want to go backwards. They're a bunch of communists, these people. They're a bunch of critical theorist, Frankfurt School communists, okay? Frankfurt School teaches, essentially, what you want to do, you say you're doing the opposite, okay? You want to make it legal to marry 10-year-olds and bang 10-year-olds, you say the exact opposite, right? You push yourself, you present yourself as somebody who's highly moralistic, okay? Yeah. But so you brand yourself as a progressive, right? In the broader sense, all right? Well, at the minuscule specific level, you push to regress, okay? All the while saying you're progressive. We want to move forward. We want to progress society. Everything you're doing is regressing it back to 1860. Oh, fucking A. Yeah. Ridiculous. Age gap love. What the fuck? The corporate mainstream media is without a doubt the most sophisticated propaganda operation in the history of mankind. Agreed, according to a political philosopher, Noam Chomsky. Pfft, who listens to that fucking guy anymore? What an idiot he is. He needs to stick to linguistics, okay? Political philosopher? No such thing! Political philosopher. Get the fuck out of here. Noam Chomsky, old liver-spotted motherfucker. Stick to teaching linguistics, you leftist scumbag pinhead you. He's a commie too. Oh my God. The mainstream media works diligently to alter and shape our perceptions and values. It seems clear that the propagandists are attempting to engineer a society that is accepting of pedophilia as a normalized behavior. Well, yeah. Yeah, both Elijah Wood and Corey Feldman have publicly discussed the fact that Hollywood is a den of pedophilia, noting that numerous powerful moguls and others within the Hollywood scene prey on the vulnerable like vultures. Again, have you ever wondered why so many people in Hollywood are leftists? Okay, it's because the type of people who are artistic, your actors and such, they also are not the type of people to be conservatives. They're eventually are people who lack impulse control. They have the kind of mentality and intellectual acuity that attracts them to leftism, okay? It's no coincidence that they end up in Hollywood, all right? And of course, people who lack impulse control, people who are essentially lacking in morals because, they who have been raised to essentially believe in feelings over facts, who have been raised to believe that reality is mutable, that everything is relative, that perception shapes reality, and that there's no such thing as objective morality. Morality is what you make it, right? Yeah. They believe all this stuff, okay? Yeah. One moment. Air conditioner was, I got to clean that damn thing. Bit of a leak there. Yeah, I think the outtake hose for my water runoff is clogged. Okay. Revealing exactly how the normalization propaganda operates, the New York Times published an op-ed proclaiming that pedophilia is not a crime, instead sympathetically characterizing pedophilia as a disorder that these people are living with. Wait. So, wasn't transsexualism thought of as a disorder? And now it's not a disorder anymore because it was removed from the DSM-V by, the psychiatrists that contribute to that book and decide what is and what is not a mental disorder. It's very convenient, isn't it, that these people get to decide what is and is not a mental disorder and thereby, to a certain extent, shape and control the reality that we exist within, which is exactly what leftists believe, that you can do that. We decide what's normal. There's no such thing as an objective view of normal. It's a decision we all make collectively. Even though there's no such thing as a collective us. Yeah, to sell this, the sell is that people who rape or who fantasize about exploiting or raping children are portrayed as victims. That's how it starts. Blacks, brown people, gays, lesbos, trannies, immigrants, people fleeing persecution, asylum seekers, Muslims even. They're all oppressed victims. And of course, in the West, the system has been created now. It's been changed. It has been morphed after 40, 50 years of propaganda to essentially get people to believe that victims Well, we need to cater to victims. We need to go out of our way to help them. Victimhood has power now. It has cachet, okay? It pays. All right? So, yeah, make people victims, and then you weaponize them. You take that power they get, that cachet they get from being victims, and then you use them as vehicles of change to implement your ideology. Yeah, they're portrayed as victims, like trannies and gay people and poor illegal aliens. But, oh, they're not aliens. They're not aliens. They live on this earth just like us. Of course, people don't understand what the fuck a homonym is and how, words spelled the same can have different meanings. Woo-hoo. Are you saying they're from outer space? There's another meaning, pinhead. Somebody from another country, okay? Yeah. They like to use that little fucking word substitution thing. Oh, they're not from another planet. How dare you say these people are aliens? Stupid idiots on the left. So the people who exploit rape children are portrayed as victims living with a condition that they have little choice over. They're living with a condition. That's like saying fat people, they have a condition. They can't stop themselves from eating. So you're essentially removing all accountability, all responsibility. You're saying that people are fat because they're born that way and they have no choice. You're saying that people rape kids because they're born that way and they have no choice, so it should be okay. Just like being fat should be okay. Interesting. Do you say that about male rapists who you castigate and want to castrate and throw in jail for 30 years? Oh, so it's only child rapists. When it's a man raping a Wayman or a woman raping a boy, which is far more prevalent than people realize, and if people actually knew the numbers, you would see that women probably rape more than men. But anyway, because men are much, much less likely to report, and they're stigmatized if they do. And they're actually taught that it's some kind of notch on their bedpost, right? And they shouldn't feel like victims at all, even though they're just as big a victim or bigger victim than Wayman because of the, the psychological aspect of a man being a victim is quite different from a woman. Women have so much support as a victim, but men have almost none. So, but anyway, yeah. Where's this acceptance for men raping Wayman? Well, what am I mean, I don't know why I brought up the Wayman. The Wayman raping young boys is perfectly acceptable, it seems. The media says nothing. Women that do it get slaps on the wrist. Meanwhile, if a man rapes a little girl of similar age to a woman who raped a boy, he'll get 50 times the amount of jail time. She'll get none. He'll go to jail for 20 years. So no jail time. 20 years. So the raping the boys is okay. And apparently, any kind of child rape is okay because, they're just people with a condition. We should be more understanding. Unless it's a Wayman that gets raped by a toxically masculine male. The article goes on to insert tidbits about recent studies, which is an appeal to authority meant to imply that the author's normalization agenda is backed by science. It is a move to destroy people. Yet another move to destroy people and make them 100% incapable of having normal human relationships, let alone being able to form a stable, strong pair bond with another human being and thereby produce functional, autonomous humans who can make their own decisions and think for themselves. Thus, claims such as men with pedophilia are 3 times more likely to be left-handed or ambidextrous, a finding that strongly suggests a neurological cause, leaves readers to discern the credibility of the author's opinion based on an unprofessional interpretation of the actual study. That sounds like bullshit to me. How large was your sample size, number one, that informed you that left-handed people... Wait, what? Are you saying that left-handed people are more likely to be pedophiles? What? Wow, really? Kinda sounds like what you're saying. If you're saying 3 times more, pedophiles are 3 times more likely to be left-handed, sounds like you're saying that left-handed people are more likely to be pedophiles. Well, that's very interesting. I'd love to see this study. Essentially, this is bunk. This is total nonsense. Nonsense! Neurological cause. I want to see the size, the sample size, okay? How many pedophiles did you look closely at to come to this conclusion? I'd love to see that, yeah. Essentially, the idea being forwarded is that people who want to have sexual relations with children are suffering from a disorder and thus are not subject to a moral evaluation. First of all, to the left-handed thing, left-handed people tend to be more artistic, okay? which means oftentimes they're less likely to be strong in critical thinking skills, though not always. More artistic people, Hollywood, pedos. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if that was the case, but that's not the cause. That's not causality. That's just representative of the fact that more of your artistic, frou-frou, elite, pinhead types tend to be liberals who also want to normalize pedophilia. But saying that there's some kind of neurological cause? No, I don't think so. Unless you're saying that essentially being, well, there is, of course, a genetic aspect to, the fact that people who tend to be liberal tend to be lower IQ. That's true, actually. And lower IQ people tend to lack impulse control. So you could say, stupider people. That's a neurological cause, right? I'm dumber and have a lower IQ. Thereby, I'm unable to control my impulses. So, it's not my fault that I raped a child. This is interesting. But pseudoscience nonsense, so it's not even worth getting into. Essentially, the idea being forwarded is that people who want to have relations with children are suffering from a disorder. So what? I don't understand. So what? There's lots of things that, fucking serial killers are suffering from multiple disorders, personality disorders, psychopathy. So what? That makes it okay? By the way, these are the same lefty idiots, these social democrats, democratic socialists, and other lefty, radical lefties like this that want to abolish prisons, right? Rape a kid? Go free. Kill a kid? Go free. No punishment. Prisons are bad. Apparently, killing kids is not. Okay. Yeah, I want to live in the world they create. Yeah, this is crazy stuff. They have a disorder, and thus are not subject to a moral evaluation. That's absurd. That's absurd. What do you mean they're not subject to a moral... See, because there's a lot of conflations between pedophilia and other nonsense that's pushed by the left. So, if you start looking a little too closely, all right, you can draw comparisons and thereby invalidate a lot of their nonsensical beliefs. So they need to continually push to normalize things, okay? It's far too obvious when they say, this is bad, but this is okay. But they're kind of the same thing. In fact, they are the same thing. How are you saying this is okay and this ain't? Oh, okay, I'll make this okay too. Yeah, no moral evaluation. But instead are in need of compassion. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have compassion for them when you chop off their balls. Turn them into Varys from Game of Thrones. I'll have compassion then. Until then, fuck off. The idea that pedophilia is a condition rather than an internal mental process involving desires and attitudes leaves the pedophile blameless. No, I don't agree with that. Just because you want to eat a Twinkie, you don't have to eat the Twinkie. You can have the desire to eat the Twinkie, but you don't eat the Twinkie. Maybe you know the Twinkie is poisoned. Maybe you saw some dude put arsenic in the Twinkie. So you know the Twinkie's bad for you. The Twinkie will kill you. Maybe you didn't put enough arsenic in to kill you. Maybe you're willing to risk the gamble that you just get the runs or some really bad fucking stomach pain. But it's not good for you. And you know that if you eat it, you'll suffer. Or maybe you feel like giving the Twinkie to your kid. You have this urge, this uncontrollable urge to give your kid a Twinkie. And you know the Twinkie will probably fuck him up. But you want to give it to him anyway. Do you fight that urge? Or do you give him the Twinkie? You have a choice. And you know it'll harm them or you. I don't understand this idea that anybody could possibly justify believing that this is somehow a blameless thing. Because I'll have a condition. Now, as this terrifying show on Viacom Network illustrates, we are being told that pedophiles should not only be blameless, but glorified. A disgusting precedent indeed. Well, you got to understand, the left pushes this idea of relativism and idealism, that reality is nothing more than a construct. And they're also a bunch of postmodernists, okay? They're all a bunch of postmodernists which believes in getting rid of everything that's traditional and held as sacred and replacing it with what? This! All right, let's move on. More leftist nonsense. Abortion activists are arrested after throwing urine on pro-life speaker. Yeah, the abortion activists, by the way, they're for abortion. Yeah, they love abortion. These lefties love it. They love killing kids. Which shouldn't surprise you, because these radical lefties are also okay with raping them, apparently. And pedophilia? That's fine. Everything's fine. Police arrested a group of abortion activists Sunday in Boston, Massachusetts for throwing urine on a pro-life speaker and shoving another pro-life advocate. Oh, they're so peaceful, these people. Their arguments have such weight. Their arguments have such veracity and validity that they don't need to resort to physical violence, except when they do, because that's all bullshit. They have no good arguments. The incidents occurred during the Massachusetts Citizens for Life annual march, where a record-breaking crowd demonstrated in defense of babies in the womb. It's the pushback I was talking about. C.J. Williams, community engagement director for the pro-life organization, told the Boston Herald that 2 men shoved her. Wow. Boy, I thought that you lefties were all feminists, and you were all about protecting women, right? Women are oppressed. Yet you're attacking and beating up women. You're showing your hatred for women. All these lefty dudes that attest to be pro-feminist and male feminist, they're all woman haters, okay? They're just pretending to be feminists so maybe they can get some pussy, okay? But the truth of the matter is they're angry, they're bitter that they can't get pussy. Meanwhile, all these conservative dudes, all these dudes that can think for themselves and aren't ideologue pinhead weaklings who need to look for some ideology to excuse their sloth, their laziness. They're not getting laid. So they're angry, they're bitter. They blame the Wayman. I want to take any possibility I can get, any chance to beat up a Wayman. Just so long as she disagrees with me and gives me an excuse. Yeah, boy, these are some interesting white knights, huh? I think that a lot of white knights out there are just pussies that would love to beat up a broad. I think they would. I think if they were given the proper situation and context and the right excuse, they'd love it. They would love it. They hate women. I think a lot of these white knights and beta males are really just woman haters, okay? And they're just trying to ingratiate themselves into the good graces of women so they can get laid. But deep down, they have all this animus and resentment. Yeah. C.J. Williams, community engagement director for the pro-life organization, told the Boston Herald 2 men shoved her and shouted expletives at the group. She said she was setting up the sound system when the 2 men who were much bigger than her pushed her. Oh, you brave lads, you brave lads attacking a woman. She said at another point someone threw urine and a slushie on one of her speakers. They're so brave, aren't they? Yeah. They can only act in groups, and it seems like when they act, they need a really big mob to get violent. I guess there weren't enough of them. So this was a huge gathering of pro-life people, so I guess, they were counting on the level-headedness and the reticence of the conservative crowd there to react to their violence with similar violence. I guess they were counting on that. But they still only rose to the level of a slushie. Throwing urine, though. That's kind of disgusting. Slushy, get it on my face, maybe get a little in my mouth. Okay, that's refreshing. But urine, ugh. Ironically, when I tried to find common ground or start a conversation, it was men who blocked the dialogue. Yeah, they're like women. These lefty dudes are just like broads. They're all emotion, Their brains have been shrunk due to exposure to soy from an early age. Their single mommies probably didn't breastfeed them and just fed them soy milk. So they didn't get the required nutrients to get a high IQ. They got IQs maybe of 85, 90. And, I guess the area of their brain that controls logic and reason is shrunk, putting primacy on the part of their brain that processes emotion. So, yeah, they're like Wayman, these dudes. Ironically, they blocked me. She said in an email, the irony made for an interesting story. We hope next year's discussion will be more civil. Keep hoping. After the arrest, she said the march continued as planned. The pro-life organization said they had record-breaking participation, pushback in the march this year. More than 600 people attended, according to the Boston Police Department. This is good. Despite clashes, our marchers maintained an open attitude towards dialogue. Well, yeah, you're the only ones. The lefties don't. And literally turn the other cheek. Bad idea. Don't turn the other cheek. Somebody smacks you, smack them back. Now they smack you, punch them back, kick them back, knock them down. Don't take violence from these people. The organization said in a statement, you need to fight fire with fire, okay? With over 600 marchers this year and a lively encounter with the public, the representatives of Planned Parenthood and this year says, okay. All right. This year, there was an alarming uptick in violence. Yeah, last year, during a pro-abortion rally in Mississippi, a video showed an abortion activist hit a pro-life man with a cane and pushed him. Yeah. All right. Let's move on. Homelessness. Ay vey. Homeless count surges 12% in Los Angeles County. Oh boy, is this a fun topic to discuss. All right. Downtown Los Angeles. Shit and garbage and needles and rats and cockroaches and disease and fucking police officers getting typhus. Oh boy. Yeah, I'm sure your tourist population has grown exponentially, not shrunk. Of course it has. Homelessness increased by 12% in Los Angeles County and 16% in the city of Los Angeles in 2019. Double-digit uptick. That's a lot, according to the results of an annual count that was delivered to the Board of Supervisors on Tuesday. The year-over-year increases reflected a homeless count of 58,936 and 36,300 in the city. I don't know how they get these exact figures. I mean, how do you count homeless people? Are you just counting the ones that show up at your shelters? And aren't there some that don't stay in shelters? I would think that the homeless population has to be bigger than this. You can't count them all. It's not like they have addresses. Let's go to the tent at 65-7 Beaker Street. Yeah, tons have addresses now. I don't think so. By comparison, the Los Angeles Homeless Services Authority reported an approximate 4% decrease in homelessness in LA County last year. So decrease last year, increase this year. I wonder what has changed. Could it be they are spending more money to help the homeless, thereby increasing the incentives to be homeless? The authority's executive director, Peter Lynn, gave a presentation at the Board of Supervisors meeting in which he provided an overview of the new numbers. I'm going to try to put a positive spin on this. We have the largest unsheltered population. Is that what they're calling them? Unsheltered population? Not bums? I mean, when I was a kid, we called them bums. Now, granted, we lived out in the country. There weren't any homeless people, okay? Had a big 5-acre yard. We had a 4-acre long fucking driveway. Used to be able to drive my fucking big wheels, pedal that motherfucker down to the end of the driveway, pedal it back up, ride the fucking thing around the yard, around all the fucking big giant trees and shit. It was great. Had a fucking tree house in the backyard. No homeless dude living in it, by the way. If you lived in the city and you had a small backyard with a little fucking treehouse in it, I guarantee you, if you were in LA City or LA County, you'd come out one day and you'd see some homeless dude sleeping in your fucking treehouse. No doubt. But not where we lived, out in the country. Oh, when I was a little kid. Wow, this is crazy. Unsheltered population. Don't call them aliens. They're not from Mars. In the nation, and one of the largest homeless counts across America. Yeah, you're on the West Coast, and you give lots of freebies and shit to homeless people, and it's warm year-round. What do you think's going to happen? Only New York has more people experiencing homelessness on any given night, Lynn noted. Imagine that. Two of the most expensive places to live in the country, and they have the highest homeless rate. Woohoo! Who would have guessed? Yeah, according to LAHSA's data, LAHSA, nearly 75% of the homeless live in vehicles, tents, makeshift shelters, or on the streets without any apparent cover from the elements. That is the definition of homeless. Thank you for telling me what the word means. Pinheads! After the board received the results of the annual count conducted by some 8,000 volunteers, who probably got paid. This is like a cottage industry. No wonder they want more homeless people. They make more money and get more employees and have more power and grow their bureaucracy. Conducted by 8,000 volunteers over a 3-day period in January, Supervisor Janice Hahn described homelessness in the country as a crisis that took decades to create. You created it. Hey, The only problem that these idiots have is that they don't identify the correct causes of homelessness, okay? And it's not evil capitalism, as you call it. Capitalism is nothing more than freedom, by the way. When you leave people free to trade goods and services, you get capitalism, okay? When you don't leave people free and you interfere and you create all this government bureaucracy and give free shit to people, you get this. Yeah. You bleeding heart liberal pinheads created homelessness, and it took, yeah, you're right about that. It took decades to create. It took you, incompetent, democratic fucking politician, bureaucrat pinheads, decades to create this problem. You're right about that. These people are like drug addicts, okay? And their drug of choice is homeless people. I needs me a fix today. How am I going to get my fix? There's a bum. I'll give him $5. Ooh, I feel so good. And your fix carries you through the rest of the day, right? And then you go home and you feel guilty again that you're so successful. What can I do to feed my fix? Ooh, I can virtue signal online about how good I am by saying how wonderful homeless people are and how I contribute to them and how I vote for people who will help the homeless. Ooh. And then, of course, you vote for people who will essentially spend your hard-earned dollars, steal your hard-earned dollars through taxation and then help these homeless people, which they, by the way, created. Which you created. God. Oh, yeah, it took decades to create. Yeah. It took decades for you to create this nice big pool of drugs that you could essentially get a fix off of whenever you felt like it. We knew it wouldn't be solved overnight. You don't want to solve it. It wouldn't be solved overnight. You don't want to solve the problem. You just want to make it worse. You just want to make it worse so you can get more fee-fees, good fee-fees. But that doesn't mean these latest numbers aren't disheartening. He doesn't see it that way. He's got to say the right things, right? He's got to present it as a negative. But the truth is, he doesn't feel like it's a negative. He loves homelessness. It's great. It's great. He gets the virtue signal. Tell everybody how wonderful he is. He wants to help the homeless. He's big on helping the homeless. Now re-elect me. Even though our data shows we are housing more people than ever, it's hard to be optimistic when that progress is, he calls it progress, right? We're housing even more homeless. That's progress, right? Yeah. We're infecting people with typhoid. That's progress. But we're disheartened by the fact that so many people are now getting typhus. Woo! Oh, it's great. I love it. Yeah. We're infecting people with disease. And now we feel disheartened that so many people have disease. I wonder how they got diseased. I don't know, balls. Yeah, if you can tell me what radio show that's from, I'll be surprised. But yeah, this is crazy. This is so stupid. We are going to incentivize homelessness by giving people free housing in the form of a homeless shelter, free food, tents, and a nice warm place to sleep, but they don't have to do anything. And then we're going to be disheartened that there's so much homelessness. It's getting worse. Oh, boy. While awaiting the release, the board had stressed, oh, my God, this is great. Excuse me, I missed a little bit here. Even though our data shows we are housing more people than ever, it's hard to be optimistic when the program is overwhelmed by the number of people falling into homelessness. We are incentivizing homelessness. We are shooting people up with the plague. But it's hard to be optimistic that we are shooting people up with the plague when so many people are coming down with the plague. Yeah, we're clueless how so many people have the plague. We're just giving people homelessness, and then we're wondering how so many people are becoming homeless. While awaiting the release, the board had stressed its success in moving tens of thousands of people off the street. Yeah, moving tens of thousands of people off the streets into government-funded, tax-funded, meaning you're funding free housing. Woohoo! The latest figures available from the county's homeless initiative indicate that more than 27,000 people have been permanently housed since July 2017 with Measure H and other public funds and temporary shelter public funds. What are they saying? And it's all public funds, you pinheads. And temporary shelter has been approved for thousands of others. So let me get this straight. Homeless initiatives indicate that more than 27,000 people have been permanently housed. Just because you take some homeless people and put them in a home that they're not paying for, that doesn't make them not homeless. I mean, technically, they got a roof over their head, but guess what? They're still homeless losers because you're flipping the bill. Great. Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Yeah. LA County's homeless count fares far better than surrounding areas. Ventura County was up 28% from last year. Orange County saw a 43% rise, and Kern County increased a whopping 50%. I guess they must be giving away free cars or something in Kern County. Oh, my God. What are they giving away? What are they giving away? Condos? They're giving away luxury apartments like in AOC's building that she says ain't luxury, but it has indoor golf. I don't have to go to the golf course. I have an indoor golf course, but I don't live in a luxury building. There's a big pool in the basement with gold coins. I can swim around it like Scrooge McDuck. But I don't live in a luxury building. Yeah, okay, AOC. Oh, fuck. Meanwhile, many advocates for the homeless say there are solutions. Yeah, stop giving them housing. Stop giving them free shit. Stop fucking incentivizing their homelessness. I'm going to give a bunch of people heroin. And then when they get hooked, I'm going to keep giving them heroin. I wonder why they keep using heroin. It's a mystery. Oh, boy. Meantime, many advocates for the homeless say there are solutions if only local government would be more proactive. How about they be less active? Okay? How about they be less active? That would solve the problem. Los Angeles homeless advocates say adaptive reuse of buildings. You're kidding me, right? Adaptive reuse of buildings, meaning take tax dollars and buy buildings from people. And this is fucking great. This is great. I love this. California has a huge housing crisis, by the way. San Francisco is famous for this, but they're not the only city that has this problem. LA, most of the cities and municipalities in California have this issue where they have a very hard time building new housing, right? Because people that already live there don't want their cost of housing to go down, right? The people that already own property, right? They want to keep their housing prices high. And if you introduce more housing, then housing costs go down and such. And, of course, lots of landlords and such who already own property there and don't plan on building new property. I want my rental property prices to stay real high. So lots of people who are already invested in these areas are against new apartments, new housing coming in, i.e. they don't want competition. Communism! Yeah. So they got their cronies in the local government keeping out competition, right? So that's great. So essentially they're using tax dollars to buy buildings from people who have an almost impossible time. This is great. So let me get this straight. They're taking and repurposing buildings, some of which are bought from private individuals, and turning them into apartments for the homeless. And this is the same government that is stopping these private individuals from converting these buildings into apartments that could then be rented for cheaper prices by tax-paying productive individuals. But we're not incentivizing homelessness. Oh, no. Partly caused by our extremely high housing prices that people can't afford, so they're living in their cars and vans. And if we allowed in more housing, the cost of housing would go down, but we don't want to do that. Meanwhile, we're going to take your building and we're going to use it to build housing that's going to be used by unproductive individuals and will in no way, shape, or form contribute to the local economy. Oh, that's brilliant! So crazy. So fucking crazy. These people are so dumb. Oh, my God. All right, yeah, brilliant. Dietrich Clinton is a new tenant in a newly renovated hotel built back in 1906, now on the edge of Skid Row. Advocates' faster answer to getting people off the street is adaptive reuses of places like the former King Edward Hotel. So the solution, I love it. The solution is socialism, right? So, you're disenfranchised, you're homeless, you're poor. That makes you the biggest victim on the planet because we're all a bunch of socialist, communist scumbags, and we believe that any kind of bad situation a person ends up with, no, it's not their fault. No, not their fault because nobody would want to be homeless, right? And it has to be evil capitalism and profit. Well, we're going to give you a free house. Built by capitalism, by the way. Yes. Oh, fuck me. This is some stupid shit. Yeah. That's why, of course, California is going into the fucking dumper. All right, this last story is hilarious. Hilarious. Listen, this is, and by the way, for those of you out there who believe in toxic masculinity, eat it. Heroic dad punched shark multiple times to save his daughter. Yet, that evil toxic masculinity leading men to save their children from big giant man-eating, in this case woman-eating sharks. Oh, that horrible toxic masculinity that stormed the beaches of Normandy and saved Western civilization. Hell, saved the world. Woohoo, so evil. A courageous father punched the shark multiple times on Sunday afternoon to save his daughter from being attacked on a beach in North Carolina. Officials said the shark attacked Paige Winter, age 17, while she was swimming at Fort McCon State Park, and her father rushed into the water to save her, WTVD reported. See, this is why I don't swim in the ocean. Well, that, and I don't think I live near an ocean. Well, it's not that far away. I guess I could go, but I have no interest in swimming. I'm not a fish. I don't like swimming. I can swim very well, but it doesn't interest me. This is part of the reason. Big fucking sharks will eat you. Thank God her son was with her, Paige's grandmother. Janet Winter said of Charlie Winter, a former U.S. Marine who was also a local firefighter. Oh, those damn toxically evil, masculine fucking Marine men going into the Marine Corps, embracing their toxic masculinity and becoming strong and aggressive. Oh, the horror, the horror. He said he punched the shark in the face 5 times before letting it go. I know there's some feminists out there saying, well, a Wayman could have punched the shark 5 times too to save their daughter. Yeah, but they wouldn't have. They wouldn't have, okay? And even if they did, the shark wouldn't have felt it. Because despite what you feminazis like to say, there's biological differences between men and women, especially between a former Marine and some little 130-pound broad. Well, these days, how many women are 130 pounds anymore in the West? Not too many. But be she fat or thin, the shark wouldn't have felt it, okay? I guarantee you the shark felt those punches from this fucking guy. Oh, man. Paramedics airlifted the injured teenager to a regional hospital where she said shortly after the attack, I will be okay. She's a trooper. You know why she's a trooper? Because she's got a fucking daddy who was a trooper, too. She's got a daddy who was a fucking Marine, raised by a man and a Wayman. Daddy's in her life. So she's a tough broad. A real tough broad, not somebody who has to be a fake tough broad who pretends to be, and meanwhile she's getting all this help from the fucking government, affirmative action, and every other fucking thing under the sun that retards get too. I'm disabled. I get so much help from the government. I'm a Wayman, and I get the same help you do. Okay. Yeah, no, it sounds like this broad can stand on her own 2 feet, but not anymore, because she lost a foot, unfortunately. Yeah, the force of the attack caused Winter to suffer serious injuries, the grandmother announced Sunday that her injuries were severe enough to cause her fingers and a leg to be amputated. Whoa. That's a big fucking shark. And the dad beat it up. Eat that, feminista. You couldn't have done that. There's a lot of other things you couldn't do that you don't realize you couldn't do because you lived in this wonderful, palatial, comfortable, luxurious, decadent world, free of predators. So you don't seem to realize that you're not really free of predators. They're out there. You're just so fucking privileged you don't realize it. You've lived a sheltered life with mommy and daddy always hovering over you. People always protecting you. Wait till you get out into the real world, and then you see they're real predators. Of course, then you'll cry, woohoo, toxic masculinity, toxic masculinity. It's called reality. It's called reality. And this is part of reality. And you need men to protect you from reality, but you don't realize that yet, but you're gonna. You're gonna. When you brought in enough of these real patriarchal, toxic men from Middle Eastern countries and countries where the men are still strong and they don't believe in your feminism at all. You'll learn a lesson then, and then you'll wish for guys like this father. You'll wish for a lot more of them to fight these evil, toxic, real toxically masculine men who will enslave you and make you wear burqas and hijabs and shit. The local hospital announced Sunday evening that Winter is recovering from her injuries. The family set up a GoFundMe page to raise money to pay for winter's recovery. As of Tuesday afternoon, the fundraiser collected nearly $37,000. Might want to go check that out and donate. Sounds like a worthy cause, actually. Yes, that's toxic masculinity, ladies. Protecting y'all asses for the past 3, 4, 5 million years. Hell, even before we were walking on twos and when we were little moles running around the fucking ground, the men were still protecting you. We've been protecting your ungrateful asses for better part of 1 billion years. Where's the gratitude? No gratitude. You're evil. Yeah, feminism is evil. That's what's evil, ladies. You want to know why you aren't happy? Guess why? Feminism. Cultural Marxism. All right, that's about it for this show. That's about it. Tomorrow's show will be equally interesting, if not more so. There's more news. There's more crazy news, and I'm sure by tomorrow there'll be even more. Woo! A lot of craziness going on, so it's good for business. It's good for my show, yes. As I comment on crazy, wacky shit. All right, so if you enjoy my content, please consider visiting therealistphilosopher.com/donate, or just visit therealistphilosopher.com and click on the donate button. I'm taking donations on Subscribestar, Patreon, and TippyStream. If you just want to make a one-time donation, TippyStream is best. You can use PayPal, Subscribestar. That can be either a one-time or subscription basis. Same for Patreon. Also, if you'd like to be on the show, I have a serious side. Can talk about whatever issue you'd like, issues, problems in your personal life, or a subject you want to discuss. Email me at admin@therealistphilosopher.com. That's admin@therealistphilosopher.com. You also might consider following me on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, and Instagram. I'm especially active on Facebook and Twitter. You can see me live replying to and interacting with the leftist troll morons who advocate the kind of ridiculous nonsense that I reply to in this show. And that's it. That is it. I will see you again tomorrow, same time, same bat channel. I am the Realist Philosopher, and I wish you a good day.